Coming next to the Poet's Realm open mic is
Lamar Hill.
Lamar Hill. Lamar Hill.
All the way from New York.
Lamar Hill, all the way from New York. New York, all of New York.
Yeah.
How y'all doing?
Peace.
Good.
Great.
So I've never been here before. I don't know what kind of crowd y'all are.
Sorry.
Just do you. Just do you. Just do you.
There's a lot of love here.
So we are not from here.
Word.
We are only visiting. We have been told this before. We have not been listening. We have gotten comfortable living in the skin we're in, but when that skin is peeled away, that is when real life begins. Now, we have put our thoughts in all the beliefs of righteous men. The contradiction occurs when we realize even righteous men all have sinned. Now, from the council in Nicaea to the council assembled here, wise men have been at odds with whether God created man or if man created God. But I am not an atheist. I do believe that God exists. If you had walked where I had walked, you would never even question this. In the worst parts of your city, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, cats don't even stare. Well, look into my eyes, they understand that I belong there. They understand that I'm from where cowards don't get to eat. Where gangsters and hustlers prey upon the meek. So if you're going to inherit it, you better be willing to die for it. If you really want it, you better be willing to fight for it. And my life is a movie, there's a brutal film, feel my pain. 1 million people watch it, but nobody see that shit the same. I am on a different plane. No, it's not a G4. More like a single engine over the with a triangle. So if I take off, you ain't gonna see me no more. And cats are always asking Mar, how you on that God shit? You gotta know it's nonsense. I tell them contraire, mon frere, we ain't end up here by accident. I definitely believe in a divine plan. But I also know any religion on this planet was created by a man. And I don't follow men. Not even on Twitter. Most of them self-righteous, arrogant, and bitter. Most of them jealous to the point of being animalistic. That's why they turn around and give their God the same characteristics. See, since the second God came, man understood the God game. Get 1 million men to believe like you believe, you can get them all to kill in God's name. And we can all sit around and argue amongst each other about whose God is tougher, but my God is love. My God is a nurturer. Their God causes earthquakes and tsunamis. Their God is a murderer. Their God, to show a sign, causes 1 million birds to fall out of the sky. My God says you pollute the air and you blame that on what? Their God, to show a sign, causes 1 million fish to show up upon the soil. My God says, I gave you beautiful oceans, you polluted them all with oil. I serve a God of common sense, so I serve the common man. You don't need a doctorate in theology to understand the answers right under your nose. The Latin translation of religion is control. You free your mind, you free your soul. So welcome to the Dirt Church. Second service. CDs and DVDs are available for purchase, but this is elevator music. It's meant to pacify your soul. From porches you used to play on to porches you now own. You were young, now you grown. And you ain't got no time for ohms, peace and blessings, candles and incense. I don't know nothing about none of that bullshit. I'm from a city where even living is a challenge. Because your life expectancy is lower than your car's miles per gallon.
Talk to him.
But I'm a hybrid. And I'm plugged directly into where my God lives. I suggest you get yourself an outlet and plug in. I suggest you get yourself an outlet for the pressure bills. Pressure from your job, from your kids, from your bills. Because when the pressure builds, the pressure kills. My blood pressure is 180 over heaven's gates. If you watch long enough, I bet you see me levitate. My poems are elevated to a place where you ain't gonna be able to relate. They get less oohs and ahs. More crowds looking at me odd. But what exactly is the poet's job? Is it to write for the here and now or the hereafter? Is it to write for laughter and applause? Is it to write something to get you closer to your God, or is it to write something that's going to impress your squad? We believe the latter here. So we pay close attention to what matters here. We pay close attention to the words that we put in the stratosphere. We have resolved to do whatever it takes, understanding that if you want to cast light, you got to write from a dark place. And it gets no darker than this. I'm a guilty man, but my pen's innocent, so in a sense, I'm a hypocrite. But what poet isn't? We would all love to be what we write every night. That's simply not realistic. Not as long as we are slaves to this flesh. And we understand that what the flesh wants, the flesh gets. This life is a baptism by fire. So I'm doused in gasoline with God holding the lighter. Unfortunately, poets don't get to blow up. We just get to show up, speak the sermon from the mountaintop like Jesus, hoping that the promoter gathered the people like Peter. We trying to save ourselves from ourselves, we animals. Somebody called Peter, underpaid like teachers, so we can't turn down features. Even if we show up at the airport and there's no one there to greet us. Show up at the venue, there's no one there to see us because too many false prophets showed up before us, promised the people healing, all they gave was more torture. Said it was holy water, that was crap, it was just tap. We in a genre where real don't always recognize real. Ask any real poet how they feel, knowing they got a message, but the people yelling recession. So all real poets are stressing, not only for ourselves, but because our people missing a blessing. Poetry is not a profession, it's the pursuit of perfection, whether live on stage or in studio session. We ask God for direction, then try to spit something to get the people's minds in erection. And that's hard.
Come on.